Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Batman, the Telltale Series, I believe is the name of it. Let's hop back in. I turned off the cloud saving, um, and we're back to save file 2, and we're back to classics mode. Um, yeah, I definitely didn't like that Shadows version. It really does kind of make an argument, and we barely made anywhere in the story, that, like, while I've seen some variant comic books that are black and white, there's never been, to my knowledge, an entire omnibus or collection of trades or anything that had that alternate art style to it. Um, they really are playing up the idea of different colored interfaces way too much, and in that instance, the lights were yellow no matter what. But yeah, that was just a bad idea. And speaking of bad ideas, I guess this episode is called Realm of Shadows. I hate to suggest this, but I kind of think for a Batman Telltale game, maybe we should do a year one story where they are, we're covering the events of Bruce Wayne in his first year of trying to be Batman. So he's not quite Batman. He makes mistakes, says things that would be out of character. This would be basically even before he would have left to be trained in like karate and things like that, where he really would have messed up quite a bit. Alright, so it looks to me like we've got kind of a standard Telltale thing where it almost looks like you can control things and look at things, but in reality, maybe you'll get an achievement.
Voice modulation. Wayne Enterprises really outdid themselves with this version.
Like, this story really should just be Bruce Wayne just managed. Wow, this camera angle is awful too. Just managed to get back to.
The suit absorbed most of the damage from that gunshot. I've got to protect my back.
To Gotham City. Yeah. In a lot of ways, there isn't even a good story that I know of that says where Bruce Wayne was between the ages of. Like between the ages of, let's say, about 10 when his parents were killed, and the camera just does not really move when you move the right stick, and about 20.
Oh, that's the stuff.
And I could see a Telltale game there. But see, that's kind of the problem also with having any game kind of based off of such an established character that's going to just have so much rules around what it can and can't do. I suspect we'll probably come back into this open walk around area a couple of times and be unimpressed by the amount of interaction. Like, unlike a real point and click adventure game where this would have originally come from, where this concept would have originally come from, you're unlikely to really end up picking up more than maybe one or two items, and often you'll pick up one item that could have been replaced with another item.
Well, the test run at the mayor's office was a success.
And see, these little quippy
Spare grapple.
comments
Can't believe I let her take that.
and talking to yourself like that just doesn't really feel
Deliver a jolt
like
or knock out electricity.
Bruce Wayne or
I
Batman.
suppose that Catwoman would have preferred the latter.
I wonder if there's kind of even an argument that I've already played Bruce Wayne wrong and he should be more of a
Trace elements in a confined space.
more of a corrupt figure Like, if Bruce Wayne acted like he was always corrupt, that would be kind of interesting.
We don't need another gangster running the city. We need a crime-fighting hero. With over 200 successful...
And so he's just not going to even say anything here about the pictures or the tickets to the movie theater.
He needs your help. He believes that together we can make a dent in Gotham's crime. But it starts with you.
And see, that wasn't the slogan you suggested.
And elect a real crime fighter to Gotham's mayoral seat.
And so then you have this like flat image that is just gonna probably go in circles. And Jack Ryder is a character of some importance.
Does Hill's campaign really think these accusations hold any water with the voters?
Gotham feed.
Desperate attempt from a flailing campaign
DA Dent, Precious Mayor to decry vigilantes. And we're just using the left stick to scroll down. I guess pause now if you want to read this. That is something else that sometimes shows up in point and click adventures, as you have things you have to actually read. Whereas Telltale Games really haven't tried to add any written text. In fact, they've done very little writing because they have to make 4 branching stories. They're effectively making a choose your own adventure book, which the actual number of pages you'd ever read in a choose your own adventure book is probably a fourth at most of the entire width of a book, and they were kids' books to start with, so they weren't that long, maybe 200 pages. So you're talking like 50 pages potentially of writing, and I wouldn't be surprised if 50 pages of writing is about all anybody would see for the entirety of an episode. I won't go as far as to say for the entirety of all 5 episodes. That would be a little too much of an exaggeration. So that was the Gotham feed, but we also have a codex, which literally just brings you to the website that you can do in the main menu. There's a data port. Is there anything else that we need to look at before we start doing things? And it's not like the interface is good by any means. You're effectively just controlling a mouse.
That computer should be able to read whatever data is on that storage drive.
And that is another thing that's weird about Telltale Games, is that they really are not designed to be console games, and yet they sold mostly as console games, and they probably should be a lot more console focused on its inputs.
Nearly fell off a building for this.
So we picked up an item. Do we have an inventory? Nope. If I would assume if we did, moving it to one edge or another would show our inventory. We'll hit the pause button just to see if there's something that says inventory, but no. So it's just like a big empty bat cave, which is just a big empty room. With no real gameplay here. It's just tourism, way more in this case than in any previous Telltale game. And as of recording this, they just have announced, the new Telltale company has just announced that they are going to release a game based on the Amazon Prime series called The Expanse, which
in front of a computer.
I'm more at home here than the rest of the house, you know that.
Then we should build an 8th bedroom down here.
Sure, I can see the headlines now. Bruce Wayne, billionaire, entrepreneur, cave dweller.
Quite an eclectic resume. Did you find out what that Catwoman tried to steal?
So they
In
don't even
process.
really know who Catwoman is.
What are
So
we
this
looking
is
at?
fairly early
Try a different
in
angle.
Batman's story, whichever version of Batman's story they want to tell about, or how they want to tell it. But
This is a
yeah.
map of the East Side shoreline. But it could mean any number of things. Money, weapons, drugs.
In a lot of ways, this feels like
port.
this may very well just
Maybe
be
it's where Mayor Hill picked up his
connected
driving.
somewhat to the story of Arkham City.
Can't make sense of it yet.
This game very well
Still
may have come
plenty
out
of files
very
to dig
close to Arkham City, and that would have made sense.
And in the meantime, I saved you what I could.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, the same couldn't be said for the bar. I had to literally pry Mrs. Zellerback away. But you'll be pleased to hear everyone has left, including...
He saved him some sugar and a
Before
cup
the
of
game
tea,
switched
I
from
guess.
billiards to cutthroat. I'd recommend leaving the fistfights to your alter ego. Bloodstains are much harder to remove from a tuxedo.
Yeah. Thanks for the interruption.
And it wasn't for you, Bruce. I was worried I might drink all my good scotch. For the record, your father despised men like Falcone, thought they ruined Gotham's stellar reputation.
Back when it still had one?
Yeah, Gotham
can
pretty
again,
much never
Bruce.
did. See, and I
So
just
people
did
like
something
this
very out of
Catwoman
character
aren't helping.
by
Is she new to town?
thanking
Seen
Alfred,
her before.
whereas
Hopefully she's just a
I
tourist.
kind of feel like Bruce
I'll
Wayne
check the
Batman
codex.
really neglects Alfred and really doesn't respond appropriately to him. At a certain point, by constantly putting yourself in danger, you're hurting the people that love you too, and it really is fairly abusive, the way he treats himself around Alfred, and thus how Alfred's emotions are not really taken into consideration. It would have been better story writing, frankly, to recontextualize Alfred as somebody who also has the exact same mindset as Bruce Wayne and wants to defeat vigilantes and get rid of crime. So much so, even to the point that Alfred maybe is hinted that he raised Bruce Wayne to be the vigilante, but it's never told that way. Not in a second. If anything, it's always Alfred telling Bruce Wayne to not be Batman, where it would have made a lot more sense if Alfred was manipulating him for his own vigilante ideals. I guess we're going to the Gotham feed. I wasn't really paying attention. Let's see. Scroll back up and see if that did anything. Maybe we just need to go into both things just because. Like, there's no prompt here. And then there's a ridiculous amount of buttons, but none of them are showing any prompts at all. Doesn't feel like I can hit the B button to get out. No, the B button doesn't do anything. Like, seriously, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Left stick's not doing anything. A, B, X, Y, Z. Left trigger, right trigger. Alright, left trigger, I guess, will give us prompts. So that can help us if we're confused. Let's just go into the codex, I guess, and just pretend like we're going to read every one of these.
Found her.
Okay, so we needed to go to Catwoman in the codex. She's a new criminal on scene, tied to several break-ins. She's effective and doesn't leave many clues behind. Currently, the GC PD has no leads. I wish I knew more about her. So apparently this is Bruce Wayne's personal notes.
Not much to find, apparently.
A few burglaries, break-ins.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have to
Sounds
do
like pretty well.
that several
You
times
could
throughout
learn
the
a thing or
series.
two from her. You can't step outside without it ending up in the news lately. As Bruce or Batman.
That's not the point. I want criminals to know I'm out there. Batman isn't hiding from anybody.
I was talking about Bruce. I don't mean to beat a dead argument, but
No one's gonna figure it out now. Trust me.
Miss Vale noticed your injuries, so did Mr. Dent. If they put it together with the incident at the mayor's office, it would undo all the long nights and close calls we've endured to get here.
See, it
You're
kind
in
of
the
is.
spotlight more than ever. You have to be careful.
See, I'm just going to be nice to Alfred,
You're
even
right,
though I
you're
think
right.
that's out of character.
Should have canceled the.
If I can,
I know how much pressure.
if I can play this the way I want to play it, I'm going to make
okay.
a nicer Bruce
I know you
Wayne and a nicer Batman than he has ever written, which frankly he should be a nicer character.
Old men worry, that's all. It's our gift and our curse. One more worry for the list.
Part of the reason you get kind of a total jerk Batman in the movies, the more recent movies, as far as Batman versus Superman, is because that door is opened.
It's been, what, 20 years?
Oh.
Last time I saw him, we were in grade school.
Indeed, you two were thick as thieves.
Yeah, that door is
Oswald,
opened
however, took that role more literally than you.
through the comic books, which
So,
are abrupt.
discharge illegal boxing matches, arms dealing, prison
This is a
stints.
weird looking
That's a criminal grand slam, if I'm using the expression correctly.
penguin character.
Fortunately, you are.
Oswald claimed he only wanted to catch up, but his behavior following his family's collapse is troubling. Why he's returning now, I haven't the faintest idea.
Should we give him a chance?
I think he just wants to reconnect. Criminal record or not, he's still an old friend.
A lot can change over the years. If I remember correctly, Oswald was fond of the old firecrackers in the toilet trick. I worry what he's graduated to. Even though you and young Master Cobblepot used to be close, I'd advise you to be cautious.
This is a
But
weird
I know you can't
backstory.
abandon a good mystery until it's solved.
I've never
I'll be
known
careful, Alfred.
a story
You
where
see
Bruce
what's
Wayne
going on in
was
this park.
childhood friends with Oswald Cobblepot. That doesn't make sense. It's an interesting twist, but it's probably not going to go anywhere. There is a story where someone thinks they're Bruce Wayne's like long lost secret brother. Still getting some hitches when it loads into a new level, and I don't think much would fix that. But turning off the cloud saving did slightly reduce the amount of spinning we saw on the right side. I don't hate point and click adventure games, although in fairness I kind of do end up hating a lot of point and click adventure games after a while. Just invisible walls here, because they can get really annoying, and moon logic just with crazy puzzles. But that's not what Telltale Games have been after the first generation of Telltale Games. So while it would be interesting if they went back that way, I don't think that's going to happen. And so then you just immediately, with even that previous scene, are given the feeling that you're mostly going to waste your time looking around at things. And he's just looking and not responding, which is very much in character with Bruce Wayne, but it doesn't work very well for a character in a Telltale game. Like, literally just two things to look at before you press forward and walk up. Or just in like a shanty town. And it is just an example of where if these were shambling zombies that could be a threat if you make a noise, it's a very different experience than just being homeless. Just homeless people.
Thank you, sir.
Can we examine him still? They definitely all feel like they're on the verge of dying of pneumonia. Of course, by modern standards now, just allowing homeless people to sleep in a park or in a tent village has become fairly illegal and passe and cracked down on by many cities. Running meet you by the state statue. It says the small text.
Statue, but no eyes.
He's gonna pull some kind of prank. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if for this first season, it's just Catwoman that's effectively your antagonist, and Harvey Dent never becomes Two-Face, even like at the last 5 minutes of the series, and you're oddly just going to be friends and communicate and talk a lot more with the Penguin and Two-Face and maybe several other characters. That there is almost an argument that the Joker, for as much as he's overused, very well may need to be the first character to show up. So even if they just said in the background, I saw this clown.
Beat it.
Right. Yeah, even if you just heard on the news that some crazy clown is robbing a place, that would be something to establish things. Although I really don't want to see yet another.
Well, that isn't what it used to be.
Really don't want to play yet another game that is just always obsessed with the Joker, or see another Batman story that's always obsessed with the Joker. But yeah, we're just observing things, walking around incredibly small areas. Whereas if this was a true point-and-click adventure game, they would at the very least require you to solve some puzzle. This would be kind of a good point for like internal monologue of Batman or Bruce Wayne to say, let's do a little cleanup, and you start taking like a pocket handkerchief towards the graffiti and trying to clean it up. At least that'd give you something to do. A Telltale game honestly would have been better if you played as Alfred.
Watch wallet cash. But this goes through you. Hey, you heard it, man. The hell are you waiting for? Huh?
See, and this is where
You want me to cut it out of you?
I feel like Bruce Wayne should just give the money to him,
Gentlemen!
because he really shouldn't care about
Keep walking, all right? This don't concern
petty
you, twerp.
You
thieves.
see, that's where you're mistaken. My old mate and I have some catching up to do. And you're ruining the moment! Come here. Think that'll do?
So now we've gotten some action as Bruce Wayne, and he's not wearing a bulletproof vest, or at least you'd assume he's not, but honestly,
No lives like you don't belong.
a rich guy probably should always be wearing bulletproof armor. So it would be very believable for him to always wear it.
Mine! You hear that? Oh, hey, Bruce.
And see, this is kind of an example of where Bruce Wayne is going to
good as new.
encourage violent
Woo, that was a right little
tendencies
scrap, eh?
in.
Nothing kickstarts the system like a dash of adrenaline, eh?
See,
So,
I should say we
someone
went too
needed to deal
far.
with the rubber situation here.
You didn't need to take it so far.
Some folks are fine hearing, Bruce. Others don't get the message unless it's beaten into them.
But yeah, Bruce Wayne and the actions and the options
2
really
decades.
And you know
for the
what? I
story to
hadn't
go
loved once that entire time.
should have
Uh,
really didn't open
that
up to
wasn't
the
why
way
I
I
brought
would
you
have done
here.
it. I would have just been like,
Right
fine,
now,
take it. What do I care?
trying to
I'm
recognize
Bruce
something,
Wayne.
Bruce, I used to run around this place with. Back when it wasn't, you know.
If anything,
This
if
park,
you were the
used to be
master
a place
detective,
was safe.
Bruce
for
Wayne
kids,
would have
for
a whole
families.
bunch of
People
Rolex,
came from all over to visit.
uh,
Oh, Mom and Dad, they put so much work in here.
and he would have like bat trackers in his wallet, in his
It's a
watch,
shame what
and he would just let the thief steal
was
it,
beautiful once.
so then he
And
could come
now
back as
it's
Batman
a
and
hell
follow him,
Last thing my parents
let the little fish go to follow it upstream to the big fish,
This city,
and see
she
who
was right through people.
those petty thugs would pawn the watch to.
Mum committed to Arkham. Dad ended it himself, he did. My family's fortune. There's nothing left, Bruce.
I know. Alfred told me.
It's funny, huh? Same place that ground my family to dust. Gave you the good life.
At some
Used to
point,
run in the same circles we did. Hobnobbing parties.
There
round-the-world
is-
vacations, unlimited potential.
there is some logic
Now all
behind
I've got is this park.
Oswald
And what's left in
being
this flask.
wanting money
I'm sorry, Oz. No one
because
should
he
have told
lost
you.
it.
Thanks,
Before.
Bruce. But we are not the only ones suffering. Good to know you haven't changed, Bruce. You still care about something more than just yourself. Although, I was surprised to see Carmine Falcone at your party last night. Made himself right at home. That oily.
So we have to kind of
Wish I could
pick.
have punched that grin into the back of his throat.
So pick a gangster
Tony was
or a
an uninvited
potential
guest. That's it.
a potential
Never want to see his face again.
supervillain that
On that,
Bruce
we
wouldn't
can
know
agree
at this
at
point.
last. Falcone made a stack of cashing corpses a mile high.
A certain
with
level,
families
I
like
guess I have to follow the
all
story,
he needs is a little
not
push.
knowing future, having future knowledge, because we really don't know
It'd
if
be a
the
treat to
story
watch you
is going to
play.
go in the same direction. It would be a good twist
Sorry, mate. This reunion
to
got a lot
have,
more grim than I planned. Things are going to be on the upside
Oz
soon, no?
Oswald never become the
A revolution
Penguin,
is knocking on Gotham's door.
or
And I'm
Harvey
here.
Dent never become Two-Face.
Which brings me to you, Bruce.
But then, knowing the
If you're a
Telltale
rock in any
Games,
direction, you break a window that Wayne Enterprise
and
owns. As the rich
like
and powerful
knowing the Telltale
you
Games, there's
top Gotham's
like
list.
gotta be a somewhat bad ending,
My revolution
sad ending
starts.
that
Gonna
happens.
Smash windows and cross off names all the way down. Like I said, it's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be beautiful. And I can't wait to get started.
I'm not your enemy, Oz.
That remains to be seen, don't it? I've got great affection for you, Bruce. I really do. Which is why I'm warning you. When this whole thing starts, make sure you're on the right side. Good seeing you, Bruce, but I got some rocks to collect. Cheers.
I mean, it's not a terrible sell for Oswald. Like, if he is talking like a revolution, which he's gonna take down gangsters and rich people, that's not like a terrible thought for Gotham, because a certain level, there is just a huge disparity between the ultra wealthy of Gotham and then the average citizen of Gotham that has basically nothing and is in constant terror of being attacked by a gangster or a supervillain. So much so that it totally explains why people would work with people like the Joker. Let's see.
Morning, everyone.
What's funny is there's one 3D model of a character here. Her lips are just moving, but she's not saying
I mean,
anything.
mine isn't fast and the paint's rusting off, but boy, does she have charm. We didn't bring you all out here to discuss cars, honestly.
I wonder if
here
that's just bad
at
animation
Arkham
or
Asylum.
if it's supposed to be a hint
Ever
that
since it opened its doors,
there's a crazy
Arkham
lady
has
in
been a
there.
breeding ground for the criminally insane. Its methods for rehabilitation, crude. Its security,
Let's see.
lacking.
Let's
The rate of
respond to
death and
text. Why
suicide
not?
inside the asylum itself is truly terrifying. We're still those who do get out, or God forbid, escape,
touches one.
are even more dangerous.
He
than
touches like
before they
one
went in.
line of.
Arkham Asylum is a cancer on Gotham. But today, with a sizable contribution from
So you
this
said
man
as soon
here,
as possible
we break ground on a state-of-the-art mental
Which
health care facility.
is
One
different
that will
than
improve
saying
the
call me
well-being of
now.
Gotham and its citizens for years to come. And Mr. Wayne has a few words he'd like to say. Bruce?
Let's see.
My parents loved Gotham. They invested their blood, sweat, and tears in this city. You know, when I was 9
What
years
would be
old,
great is if he could,
my parents took me to see a movie about a hero in a mask.
if he broke
The
down and
hero
started crying to get
who
out of
stood
the
up to
speech
oppression and defended the
and then
people
ran
for
off
justice,
stage.
no matter the cost. That night, my parents paid the ultimate cost defending me from a man
I thought it was Don Quixote that they went to see.
who needed the kind of help this new facility.
No, it was Zorro. Zorro is what he went to see. There's a slight difference there. Don Quixote's crazy. Zorro, not so much.
With this facility and our next mayor, we change.
It's kind of funny giving a speech.
Today, on the anniversary of that fateful night, we dedicate this facility to Thomas
That's
and
like
Martha
a terrible
Wayne and usher in a new era of healing
thing.
for Gotham.
And see, there is certainly a level here where it feels like
I'm
all of
sure
Gotham
you all have
was
plenty of
just
questions about the new hospital, so
was
let's open it.
traumatized by his parents
You first,
being
Miss Farrell.
killed, where
Thank you.
it almost
With the
certainly
opening
would
of
have
this
been
new hospital, what does
old
this mean
news
for
by
Arkham
now.
Asylum? What happens to the old building?
Let's see.
I say we leave the asylum standing as a reminder that we can do better.
No reason to tear
This
down a
time we
building,
won't fail those
particularly
who need us
a
most.
historical building.
All right, who's up next?
Interesting, it just
Mr. Wayne,
clipped
Julia Remark of the Tribune.
on the
My
response.
sources say you welcomed alleged mob boss Carmine Falcone into your home.
Let's see.
Well, I think Mr. Falcone is a voter just like anyone else in this city. He came to learn about Harvey Dent, your next mayor. Next question.
Please keep your questions on topic, people. We're here about the hospital, remember?
Let's see. Urgent
But Mr. Wayne, this
GCPD
morning
is
the
here.
Globe received evidence of an offshore bank account managed by Carmine Falcone and your father, Thomas Wayne.
What exactly are you implying?
Transactions
Interesting.
connected to organized crime going back years and continuing to this day. The paper trail ties your family directly to the mob. Care to comment?
It's a possibility. Let's see. Let's
And
doubt.
did anyone else receive this evidence?
The Globe, the Gazette, we all did. Mr. Wayne! Mr. Wayne! Is all your money dirty?
Is the Wayne family legacy built on lies?
Did you know about this, Bruce?
How long has your family been dealing with Falcone?
Could the allegations be true?
What aren't you telling us?
Does the mob sign Wayne Enterprises paychecks?
It's just
You
enough.
should check your source. Sounds to me like an intern is finally putting their creative writing minor to good use.
Mr. Wayne! Mr. Wayne!
How long has your family been dealing with Falcone?
Could the
Wow, they're
allegations
just
be true?
reusing lines of dialogue
Did you
even.
know about this, Bruce?
What aren't you telling us?
I'm sorry about this, Bruce. I don't know where the hell it's coming from. Damage control's my territory. We'll talk later. Everyone, please settle down. I'll be fielding your questions from here on out. Please, let's try to keep this civilized.
Bruce, I've been trying to reach you. The police are inside the manor.
You would think you would have it set up so that they could easily search Wayne Manor and not find any evidence of you being Batman. That's in probably part of the reason why he never actually spends much time in Wayne Manor and is always in the Batcave.
Says who?
This warrant. It's not personal. I had the boys turn the lights off, keep a low profile.
There's gotta be a mistake.
That's what we're here to find out. Maybe we made a mistake. Maybe you did.
Alfred, keep an eye on them. Make sure they only take what they have to.
Of course, sir.
Of course, Alfred's no lawyer. See, there's some logical flaws for
I meant
Bruce
what I
Wayne.
said about not personal.
He would almost
No one
certainly
files
have an
Wayne
assistant next to him,
Enterprises.
and it would make a lot of sense to have
Warrant covers your place,
your Robin,
places of residence, and any companies you own. Your holdings are
and like
extensive.
have a Robin pretend to
could
be
be
his
doing your
intern,
taxes.
always answering the phone, always
And what do you expect to find?
always
For our analysts back at the
getting
precinct to
staying
figure
in contact with
out.
Alfred
I can't comment.
more. Although logically, they'd
Well,
almost have
gotta
like
serve it.
hearing
Mayor
aids,
Hill signed up for this
always
himself.
communicating with each other at all times.
As long as he's mayor, he calls the shots.
Well, Hill has a history of making his opposition disappear.
Rumors and allegations, Mr. Wayne.
It would also make a lot of sense
But
for
if they
Bruce
become
Wayne
fact, I'll handcuff him myself, same as any other.
would have a whole bunch
I
of
don't know how your
lawyers
neck ended up on
who
Mayor
could
Hill's
just show up
chopping block, but here
within
we
a
are.
second
Hill
of being
knows
called.
If I go down, Harvey's campaign goes down too.
That'd be a real shame. Mr. Dent's the only DA I ever trusted to make a conviction stick. As mayor, I think he can finally turn things around for us. For all our sakes, I pray you've got nothing to hide.
There's a Batman story out there where, like, it's the exact opposite scenario where Bruce Wayne, for the first year, I think it was a year one Batman story, he thought that Commissioner Gordon was corrupt. Are we going into the flashback to see them killed?
Bruce, stay back.
In a lot of ways, if they were going to see Don Quixote, it would make a lot of sense because Batman is effectively a modern day Don Quixote. Generally, it's accepted that a nobody character named Joe Chill shot his parents in Crime Alley. There have been some hints or
Bruce?
teases that Joe Chill is actually who the
didn't mean to
Joker is,
interrupt,
but mostly these days it's not assumed that for that to be true.
It's not a problem, really.
Bruce. First the mayor's office, now Wayne Manor. Gotham continues its streak of break-ins.
Really going for the record, huh?
Listen, Bruce. A scandal surrounding a beloved family like yours captures the public's attention. I can help you get the right kind of attention. Through my connections at the Gazette, I have all kinds of access. I can dig up whatever you need to fight this.
I appreciate the offer, Miss Vale, but trying to say I'm the good guy here.
Instantly makes you look bad. I get it. So let me say it for you. The Gazette received this supposed evidence like every other media outlet, and it's all hearsay, flimsy sources. There isn't a shred of hard proof.
Still, allegations like this, they
It's
don't
kind of funny that
magically
I
appear.
don't think there
Someone
is
going after my family.
a
after
story where Bruce Wayne really starts
Obviously,
dating
Senator
Vicky
didn't identify
Vale
themselves.
for
No idea
any
who-
long amount of time.
I mean, no one's even done their due diligence on this yet. The press saw the fumble, they grabbed the ball and ran. Not every day you get to go after a Wayne.
Hill wants me out of the picture because with my backing, Harvey wins in a landslide. All signs point to Hill.
Of course, I could
You're a
also
kingmaker,
think that maybe
Mr.
it
Wayne.
was,
And Harvey Dent is Gotham's knight in shining armor just
could
waiting
also
for the
be
crown.
Oswald.
first
That would be
target
the
on
bigger
Hill's list.
twist.
By tonight, this scandal will be broadcast to every screen in Gotham. Everyone will be talking about it.
This isn't my first pass through the rumor mill. I know the damage it can do.
Then go on the record. Right here, right now, and stop it. You need to get out ahead of this. Your side is what matters, not wild speculation.
Of course, you're going to give a quote. Trying to get a feel here of how long each episode is, whether they are. Let's see.
The Wayne family has always been a cornerstone of Gotham. We have never had and never will have connections to organized crime.
That's exactly what the people of Gotham need to hear.
She probably would have said that no matter what I picked.
You're gonna beat this, Bruce. The Waynes always come
And it's
out
not like Vicky Vale is
Goodbye,
Catwoman. Where it would have, if you were just telling a regular story and not contrived to the history of Batman,
I hate to admit it, but
you would have
smells
probably
smoke.
done better
Fire is heading this way.
to combine those two characters.
Enemies, but my family.
I did notice in the
We've done nothing but
background
support
there's like
Gotham, even in
several
its darkest
pixels
days.
that were white
All this
on the
the
door,
anniversary of your parents.
It's not a coincidence.
which
Harvey's the
just
district
really looks like
attorney. He
bad
should have told me
animation.
this was coming.
Then find out why he didn't.
So yeah, I don't know if at this point, like, can we see our choices as far as, no. So we won't be able to really see our choices until we're finished with the main first episode. I think we're going to just have inconsistent coverage between episodes. There's so obviously very, very little game in this. There's just no other way to put it. You're getting little prompts here and there, and you're constricted way more than any previous Telltale game by having to stay within the realm of what would be acceptable by DC. Because I could have definitely seen a case there where I would have tried to flirt with Vicky Vale. I would have tried to flirt with her heavily before. I would have straight up tried to sleep with her, frankly, because it helps not only Bruce Wayne but Batman to have a reporter on your side. We're having a fairly slow introduction here, and I suspect we're not going to see any other supervillains. We may see like one supervillain show up in episode 2 and they become somewhat of a focus in episode 2, but and then we get rid of them, and then we get like a different supervillain in episode 3. Oddly, the episodes in a Telltale game are not really the same length or the same feeling of a like Batman 66 TV episode, or a Batman the Animated Series episode, or any Batman TV series episode, really. You're not just going to be able to throw an enemy at a established archetype of Batman and then tell a fairly generic story. Here, Batman is a real character. Bruce Wayne is a real character that you've been put in charge of controlling. And it just doesn't quite work. It just doesn't quite feel right feels like I'm doing a school play based on a story that actually happened to Batman versus actually controlling Batman. And I guess this is probably the flaw around any idea of doing any well-established character in a Telltale game. And that's where the beauty of The Walking Dead succeeded, and pretty much none of the other Telltale games really did succeed. At least when we were doing the Back to the Future game, for instance, that was like the main character after the events of the movies in Back to the Future, so you could be a little bit different. Also, it was many decades past the last time a Back to the Future movie had come out, so it's not like I know intrinsically what Marty McFly would have done in a Back to the Future Telltale game, whereas Batman is just like the cornerstone of DC. Even if you don't really read comic books, all I really read was the New 52 and didn't even finish that as far as a series, so maybe a year and a half worth of DC comics, and that was more than enough on top of what I've seen on TV just in passing and what I've seen in movies just on passing to know who Batman is. I've also played Batman games, and inherently I guess that is the beauty of games like Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, is you just have Batman spouting out lines that you don't control, and then you're given a general objective that pops up on the screen telling you to do the thing that Batman wants done. So you're basically just controlling his body, not really controlling his mind, which there's a big difference there. Regardless, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.